the Bisimoto facility, we are in a very interesting climate environment. It's been cold for the past few days, actually quite cold. Have some amazing examples behind me. As you can see, I have this gorgeous 930 wide body that's EV. I'm balancing the cells as we speak. I think I'm getting it within 0.001 volt, right? Pretty tight, and it's working quite well. So good afternoon, everyone. Hello, 074 Larden. Will Lindy Lan, thank you so much for joining as well. I have all of you on Instagram right in front of me. To my right, your left is YouTube Live. To my left, your right is TikTok. And my Anchor/Spotify podcasting is not working, which is really strange. It's kind of glitchy. I'm gonna have to reboot that as we're talking and see what I can do to make this work quite well. I forgot the AC on again. Yep, Mother Nature sure did. Hello, Alwar Berigal, saying, hey, BC, love the Moby Dick. Thank you so much. That was at the most recent Air Water event where this beautiful vehicle by Jeremy, from Jeremy in Utah, that we did the very proper north of 600 horsepower EV conversion with a lot of Porsche-esque components in it to make it still retain the classic design, beauty, and ethos while infusing modern tech. That car was on display there in the McGuire's booth as well. So yeah, we've been driving those cars quite a bit. I'm going to do some validation this week with that. In front of it is a 930, courtesy of Ralph Shields. His is right there getting worked on as well. We're doing some proper upgrades as well to the DC to DC system and updating also some contactors. So it should be quite nice indeed. And I think Nick is also relocating the BMS, putting a spot that is quite accessible. So that's very good indeed, doing some good things. Hello, TikTok. Thank you so much for joining. I'm going to reboot my phone here and hopefully we can get these podcasting networks going on. But as I was getting ready to interact with all of you this afternoon, look at what I found. Many of you may not even know what this is. It said the red is glowing on me, says Tumbleleaf. Yes, it's absolutely gorgeous indeed. Aaron Lovett7 said, Fanny, hello. Second, what is that car glitches into the ground behind? What is that car glitches into the ground behind you? Car glitches? I don't know what you mean. But if you're asking what this is on the ground behind me, it's a laptop connected to the BMS. This car is also connected to a level 1 charge that we're testing the J1772 protocol on. So that is for client Jeremy from Utah. It has fast charging, 600 plus horsepower, absolutely gorgeous. The inside looks absolutely factory with factory analog style gauges. You cannot tell that thing is EV until you press on the pedal and it is on and cracking, which is pretty good. What is the best car you built in terms of technology challenges? Tech challenges, the best car I've built that was really overwhelming. I would say because of a time perspective, it would have been the Odyssey minivan we did. That's 1,000 horsepower. It took 7 weeks to build. We had no insight whatsoever on this New Earth Dreams V6 J35Y engine. We had no tuning solutions. Honda also changed the protocol for cam and crank with a tri-crank and a 60-2, tri-cam and 60-2 crank. And the tri-poles on the crank, on the camshaft were not evenly spaced. So that created more of a challenge for something that was bespoke. And we had a short period of time to go from a stock 200 horsepower car to 1,000 horsepower, which is pretty crazy indeed. Now, fast forward today, you can't see it, but right to where I'm pointing at now, you can see, you can see the doors pointing up is a Neo EP9. It is the only Neo EP9 in North America, a hypercar. A good friend Matt Katz owns that, courtesy of Peterson. And that is going to be the most advanced vehicle to ever leave our stable. And we should have that running in a couple of weeks or so. So that being said, that's what we have going on. Thank you, Jess. Looking good. Thank you, love. Appreciate you indeed. You've just been a wonderful addition to my life, and I appreciate you deeply. New Zealand's in the house, courtesy of Josh Ensblah. Thank you so much for joining. I think he's referring to that baby blue thing, front of the rolls. Oh, this right here is that right there. Oh, I don't know if it's this one. This is in front of the rolls. But over here is a 72 in Mexico blue. I have a Miami blue 935 right here that I'm padding. You can kind of see the bottom of it there. So we have quite a few cars. Oh, the little thing right here, that. Oh, I get it now. I didn't quite see that. That baby blue thing looks like a slammed vehicle, right? It's half of a vehicle known as the Colani Aerodynamic Study. That vehicle had a small petrol engine that was a 2-stroke setup that was quite dirty to drive around. It's a 2-seater kind of cycling with an assist of a 2-stroke motor. We have now updated that to some really forward-thinking technologies from Super 73, that popular EV bike company. So we infused two Super 73 motors in that assembly. That's a top. We had to sever the top of that assembly to be able to get to fabrication, working, and beauty designs of that car. And then this will go back, we'll fuse it, have it painted, and then I'll do a ton of content to show you how crazy that vehicle is. So that's what the thing that's slammed and in the ground right there, which is pretty nice, you know? Tumbleleaf said, BC, I feel so inclined. Please come out to our car show, May 10th. Technical Race Wire, Lake ECU in Cerritos. Cerritos is not far at all. May 10th. I wonder if I can make it out. I have so much going on this weekend. Send me some details, Tumbleleaf. Maybe I can come by. I just have a lot to do here at the office. And it's supposed to be a nice warm weekend too, so it should be pretty good. It looks like I have car glitching to the ground. Yeah, it does look like it. It does look like I can actually do a post on that, right? Like, what do you think this is? But anyway, this, guys, is what I found, which is pretty cool. What cities to shop in? Says Zeki4593 on TikTok. We're in Ontario, California, and Zeki5493. Thanks for my #1 gifter badge. Appreciate the kind gesture. So back to what this is. You know, guys, do you know what this is? Can you see that? This is the very first cam gear billet that AEM made. So as far back as the late 90s, John Concialdi, bless his soul, founder and proprietor of AEM Electronics, had the opportunity to design a cam gear for the single cam. Initially, many of us had to opt for something from JG Engine Dynamics. They were located, what was that considered? Monterey Park, California, I believe. And JG Engine Dynamics would take a factory cam gear, cut it up, make a plate in the middle, allow us to adjust it. And the adjusting of cam gears has multifaceted benefits. One, it allows you, especially if you have a milled head or a dead block, it allows you to adjust the cam opening and closing numbers to match the crankshaft numbers in terms of degrees to allow for optimal performance. That's one, to allow you to degree the camshaft properly. Secondly, you can move the power band, see how that moving around? You can move the power band, advance it for more bottom end, retard it for more top end, so you can move your power band to really match the type of driving or racing you do. Nowadays, we have VTEC and with Hondas, we have Mivec with Mitsubishis, we have VarioCam with Porsches, where this happens real time. You can move while the vehicle is driving around, so you can advance in low RPMs to give you that bottom mid-range power. And as it goes up in RPM, it retards to give you more top-end power, giving you a flatter, wider torque curve. But back in the day, we didn't have that. We had a fixed cam gear, and you couldn't do much of anything to be able to not only degree cams properly, but also move your power band around for the type of drag racing top end, road racing, or canyon carving mid-range. So this is the very first one. I still have it. I'm gonna hold on to this probably forever. And you know, John, if you're listening to us, thank you so much for creating such wonderful products for us, for our scene. And I was more than proud to be a guinea pig. You can still see some of the writing that John put down, and I kind of followed with some marks of how I played around on the track to go faster and slower to see how this could help me achieve my success with racing with the D-Series single cam. What is a forged internal engine? 4G63, for example, as ZK5493. Well, that's almost lingo. Most of the engines we use are aluminum cast with impregnated steel sleeves. So that being said, when someone says forged internal engine, what they mean is that they have forged pistons and added a rod assembly to it. So it's almost like an aftermarket rotating assembly. Factory crank most of the time, aftermarket rods from like Eagle or Cunningham or Crower, and then a nice forged piston from like Trom. Those are company, the Trom is a company that I use for all our builds, our petrol in nature. And they make forged pistons. So when people say forged internals, that's what they're referring to. Have you modified any Ferraris or Lambos into EVs, says Aura Bergi? Not yet. I have not had a client who's crazy enough like me to bring us a Ferrari or Lambo to EV. I do have one that's in the pipeline, a Ferrari classic one, but not a Lamborghini, nothing yet. Zach Womack from YouTube says, hi BC, hello indeed. So is Rotella. He's here saying hi as well. Thank you so much for joining me at the Bisimoto stable. The team and I are working away on projects here, and it's quite gloomy. We've had lots of rain, almost a storm watch for the past 2 days, but it's gonna be burning up this weekend. We're getting to 90 degrees when it comes to the weekend temperature, so it's gonna be a hot one indeed. Such variety. I'm telling you, something is going on with our climate systems here in Southern California. I think it has a lot to do with climate change, but who knows? Who knows? We'll see what goes on. Okay, let's see here. What's up, my brother? Hope all is well, says Shark Eye TV. Thank you, Sharky. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate you indeed, indeed, indeed. Exo Truck got his ID 1700s. Great choice of injector. Those Bosch EV14 base injectors are amazing. He said his island descent turned out to be his IAC duty cycle. Funny how little things can really play with your tune. Absolutely. You know, it's so funny. We, especially in petrol, we see how small components can affect things. Even in the EV world, one of the things we're addressing over there is a lazy contractor that was really misbehaving. And a small $90 piece could wreak thousands of dollars of damage into a car if not rectified immediately. So that being said, I hear you, Exo Truck. Keep it up, and I'm very proud of you for your sleuthing and finding out what's going on. Official Junior says, do you still own the 911 and Odyssey from the tuned video? I love those projects. Yes, I do. Still have the 930 IROC vehicle and still have the Odyssey parked in front of my house as well. So thank you so much for those questions. I do. Those are cars I put together as far back as 08. So yeah. Craziest Monkey says, so great that you can share a lot of this history of the scene. I remember reading about it when I was first when it was first shared way back. Cheers, keep it awesome. Thank you so much. The best yet to come. I'm here to provide insights, to share my experiences, to provide my knowledge so we all can benefit, because I needed that when I was younger. And I really didn't get that from a lot of shops and enthusiasts. And I just talked about John Concialdi from AEM. He was the one who really took me under his wing and showed me so much and allowed me to be a lot more successful. And I really have him to thank for my exposure to the scene and doing what I do today. So thank you so much for the kind words. I really appreciate you. Our bird guy says, you speak well, dude. Like a teacher teaching students with so much enthusiasm. Thank you for the kind words. I just love cars, and so does my team. We put together great things here, the best is yet to come, and I sincerely appreciate your support. Have you ever seen the LSR Porsche, says Sharky Eye TV? Yes, that seems a very, very popular combo, especially with the 996 turbos. A lot of people, 996 turbo, 996 water-cooled chassis. The 996 is the designation from Porsche for the 911 that started in 1999 that carried an M96 engine that was water-cooled. It was Porsche's first foray into 911s for water-cooled power plants from the air-cooled era. And a lot of enthusiasts didn't like that because they just didn't like the departure from air-cooled, even though air-cooled engines really house older technologies that weren't really great for noise or emissions. So going to a water-cooled power plant that allowed for better emission standards, quieter application was the way to go. But some people just didn't like the chassis or the engines. And if they had failures due to an intermediate shaft or de-chunking of the sleeve or scarring, buying another Porsche engine sometimes could be a little cost prohibitive. So people started putting LS and LT swaps into their Porsche 911s. There's a company known as Renegade, not a partner of ours, but they're in Nevada, near the Vegas area, and they make kits that allow you to do that. The kits did quite well because they're cost effective and give a lot more power and torque, and in some instances, some good power to weight ratio using the factory gearbox compared to the Porsche engine. However, some of the challenges that I've heard from clients that have allowed us to update them indeed were cooling issues, where it's kind of challenging to keep those applications cooled, especially if they were high horsepower using the factory chassis or even impregnating them into air-cooled chassis as well. So yeah, I've seen those, Sharky, quite popular. A lot of people have done that, and yeah, it keeps going on. BTD Lock says, any update on the Wagon giveaway? Absolutely. I had an opportunity to talk to a very good friend of mine about a week ago. For those of you who may know that very popular YouTuber who does a lot of giveaways, he helped me tremendously with some insights, and we may even do something together as time progresses. So that being said, thank you, Tavarish, for helping me and giving me some insights on that. I'm awaiting some paperwork from the DMV, because what I have with that vehicle is a bunch of paperwork with it. It's not registered in quite in my name yet. So that being said, I'm trying to get a pink slip from the DMV so I can be able to give that away instead of a bill of sale paperwork of a project build, right? So that being said, we are awaiting. It's so weird you brought that up, BTD Lock, the low K, how do you say your name properly? Forgive me. I was just talking to my sister Lindsay about that today. So it is coming, it is coming, it's coming. Hang tight, we'll have it out soon. Let's see, BTD Lock says, remove my throttle cable on a 91 EF and throttle is getting stuck. Any suggestions? If you remove the throttle cable and it's getting stuck, look at your routing. Two things will cause that. If your routing is not ideal how it was before, nice and smooth all the way to the throttle body, that will cause a problem. If there's a fray in your cable that's getting caught up, if there's a lot of friction in your cable, sometimes you have to spray some lithium grease inside there and kind of have it, sit down. Also, not to overlook, if your alignment is messed up on the holder to the throttle body semicircular piece, the pull, throttle body pull, if that bracket is off, it can create an environment where it kind of sticks and won't let it return back to idle. So check your routing, check for frays, check your bracket and make sure that everything is proper and you should be good to go. Thank you for all your knowledge you share. You are one of a kind, says Shakai TV. Thank you so much, or Shakai Tai. I'm sorry, hopefully I'm not messing up your name, Shakai TV. Is that a 930, says S3 Kid on TikTok? Yes, this is a proper, beautiful 1983 930, show quality, immaculate. What you see back there is a heat exchanger, is the GT3. Yes, Porsche GT3 center radiator that CSF manufactures. I try to use as many Porsche parts in all our builds, especially those that are embracing of newer technologies, to be able to keep the ethos. The other one there has that one right there, silver, is also a 930. That's also getting a nice electric treatment. That's for Ralph Shields, very good friend of mine, and also the head of global design for Stellantis. Instead of using a GT3 on his, we use something that looks more like a 930 intercooler. So we have two different types of styles, same ethos, lots of fun. Just some magnificent builds going on here with the team and I. So thank you so much for asking. Appreciate you indeed. Lawrence from YouTube is saying, hello, sir. How is your day going so far? Very productive, a lot of work. Unfortunately, I won't be able to stay the full hour, 45 minutes or an hour like I did before on this medium because I have so much going on. Family Hen says, you are a legend. Thanks for the kind words. As I always say, guys, no man or woman is an island. None of these projects could exist without my team, as you see them working my hair. It's the only way I can have anything going on here with team and support of my family, my parents, Jessica, the kids. Is just amazing, amazing indeed. I would like to work alongside you. Let's figure out a way we can collaborate in the future, says Sakai TV. Let me know. I had a good conversation earlier on with a good friend of mine, Phil, from Indecent out in Texas. We're talking about doing some projects together as well. Send me a proposal on what you have in mind. I just love working with fellow enthusiasts who are quite serious and dedicated to improving our scene. So let me know. Excellent, says Family Hens. Thank you so much for the kind words. Appreciate you indeed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Info sent. Thank you, Tumbleweed. Appreciate you indeed. I will check that out. Thanks, man, says BDD Salot. Thank you so much. Let me know if you're ever in the Pittsburgh area, please, says Echo Truck. I'm starting a new thing with my YouTube channel where I interview immigrants while driving around in trucks, like comedians in cars, but with more. Thank you so much. I will let you know, and I would be more than honored to participate in your podcast interaction. I did something recently with Racer Magazine. I'll let you guys know. If you haven't followed me on YouTube, please do. The YouTube handle for us is Bisimoto, Bisimoto. I do a lot more there with videos that I do on TikTok and also Instagram. And above and beyond that, we have some really nice sneak peeks of what we have going on here at the stable for SEMA and beyond. So please do go join us if you haven't already, and we should have a good time. Youngster323 says, hey BC, do you see any oil products from your shop that we can come by and pick up? Yes, here I have lots of Breakin oil. For those of you who don't know what that is, when you build a brand new engine, the last thing you need to do is put in synthetic immediately. That can cause a problem. What we tend to do, and forgive me as I walk away here to grab a nice bottle to show you what's going on. What we do is we have an opportunity to use this. This is Purol SAE 30. This is the Breakin oil you use for a brand new engine that you just built because you want exceptional interaction between your rings and the cylinder sleeves to be able to have a nice seal. You want to make sure that your bearings are seated and proper and have great oiling. This applies that as well. This also allows you to have some nice small detergents to clean the engines properly upon first startup. All the lint and rubbish that can go there. You can start the car up, let it idle, get it a temperature, drain it out, and it turns out nice and black, right? Then you fill it up again and do your break-in or dyno tuning. So yeah, I have this. SAE30 is ideal for engines that are, the fill should be 020 weight, 530 or 1030 weight. And then we have the SAE40, which is ideal for any 5W30, 10W40, 2050, any of the thicker oils. You can use that single viscosity to break your engines, and when you're done, put in your fill of oil as well. So yeah, I have lots of Breakin oil. We have 020, we have some 1040 as well. I'm out of stock on 2050 synthetic and 530 synthetic, so just awaiting some of that. But yeah, we have quite a bit. So when in doubt, hit them up. I think they're doing sponsorships now too. They can probably help out. So yeah, pretty good indeed. If you need more information on these guys, please go ahead and reach out to PR USA, and they can talk about that and help you out. Team No Heaven says, thoughts on Rotella T6 oil for older cars? Great question. So the Rotella T6 was a very popular oil, really designed for diesels, right? Because it had some great detergents and also a high amount of zinc, which I love, because one thing about pure oil is it has about 1,700 parts per million of zinc. And zinc is very, very, very important to keep your valve train clean and protected, and also your lower retaining assemblies as well. Zinc can also be expensive, but when you remove zinc from the oil because of cost, oil companies do that. And I'll talk about how the Rotella comes into play there. When you remove the zinc, not only does it not protect your engine very well, it can create a lot of scarring on your camshaft, especially for us guys who are into VTEC and higher RPM overhead cams, into Porsches and so on and so forth. So what do I say about the Shell Rotella T6? Back in the day, it had about 1,300 parts per million of zinc, high zinc, great protection, relatively cost effective, so it was good. But recently as 5 years ago, Shell started removing zinc from that as well. So as we did analysis, it's now in the 700 parts per million realm. So it's not as protective as before. So even it's designed for diesel, and some of the petrol guys have used them, I wouldn't encourage using that nowadays. If you wanted to do something, use a pure oil, Breakin oil, that is mineral-based for the older cars and can still protect you quite nicely. And then if you're able to have a newer engine that can withstand synthetic without the cool seals, go with pure oil synthetic. Also 1770 parts per million can give you the protection and also power, because there's a lot more lubricity than the other oils out there. Shell Rotella is not what it used to be. I wouldn't use it anymore for anything petrol. It just doesn't give you the protection that it used to give us back in the day. Okay guys, that being said, it's a slice of heaven. I love interacting with all of you today, but I have to go back to work. I have to get that silver 930 in front in tip-top shape this afternoon, because it has an alignment tomorrow at Shoeworks. So thank you so much guys for really interacting with me this afternoon. I sincerely appreciate you. Stay safe out there. For those in Southern California, stay warm and stay safe as well. See you next time. Have a pleasant afternoon and take care. Cheers. Bye-bye.